Okay, so let's head out and see what has changed around the place. So like all responsible people, before we head out, we put on our masks. Now I know that I'm not naive to the fact, I know that there is a shortage of face masks in the world. I believe in February China were making about 2 million a day, and now they're making around 200 million. So hopefully that will quickly start to trickle down to other countries in need. And my suggestion is, as long as your health workers have enough supplies, then everyone should wear a face mask. It's a bit of a catch-22 situation, because the more people who wear a mask, then the less people need to go to hospital to be treated, so the less masks really needed in the hospitals. But also, like I said, it's a priority that healthcare workers have the proper PPE. So let's have a quick look what's changed in my community. Okay, so this is usually the main entrance into my community. We live in gated communities, and you can see that's still locked, and that's just to limit the access to non-residents. Well, the gated community is obviously to limit access to non-residents, but in general we get a lot of home deliveries because you can get a cup of coffee here delivered for nothing. And what they did do, this has changed, is before here they put a staging area, and that meant that see this guy here in the blue jacket? Okay, he's coming to deliver someone some lunch. So now he got his temperature taken and he can just go and deliver it. But what would happen before is he would only be allowed to come in, and they had all tables and like a marquee set up, and he would put it there, and then they would ring you and you'd come down and get it. And these are our security people who work here. They always work here. They take your temperature when you come home now. So we'll head out down the street and see what's going on. Okay, so what we'll check out, what it always is a good indication if the city is getting back to normal, is the traffic. So we can see the traffic. This is a Sunday, so generally the traffic would be quieter than usual. You can see there are a lot of scooters around the place. I came down here maybe early to mid-February just to have a look. I only live 5 minutes walk from here. And this was barren, totally barren. There was not a car on the road. You could have ran down that street naked and no one would have even have seen you. There were no scooters, no bikes. This was all barren. And this is a shopping centre here. This car park when I came was totally empty, not one single car in the car park. So you can see that there is some confidence. So this is the entrance to one of the shopping centres, and usually this would just be open, just come and go as you want. But let's have a look what's going on here. Okay, so I translated this just prior to filming, and basically what it says is that's just telling you procedures that they're implementing in the shopping centre in this time of crisis. This is telling you all the places that are sanitised, and that is the time that they were actually sanitised. So it's like toilets and the railings and all that sort of stuff. And down here that basically says to enter the department store you must get your temperature checked and you need to wear a mask. So you can see this guy here, he's taking everyone's temperature, and then you'll see every person wears a mask. So I'll show you what happens. So you come here like this, just give him your hand. So you can see every single person wears a mask. I'll show you. You won't see a person without a mask. So take your temperature, and you're free to, anyhow, and you're free to come in and go shopping as you please. So I'll just have a quick look. Now this is Sunday afternoon, about not sure, maybe 3:30. So generally it'll be a quiet time because everyone would have eaten lunch and gone home. So we'll quickly just go up and make sure all the shops are open. Okay, so it appears to be business as usual. Now, I feel a little bit awkward filming. These department stores only opened, I think, like for all the little shops. Like they were open if they had a supermarket in them, but you could only access the supermarket. And they were only opened up at the end of March. So now being the beginning of April. Here, this is, eventually it will be one of the subway entrances. So this guy here's another temperature check. Anyhow. And if you want, you can use the hand sanitizer they have there. So it's like you can't really go anywhere without having a temperature check. You'll walk out of one shop, temperature check, into another shop, temperature check. So this is like a 3-tiered floor mall. It basically goes underground to across the road to another shopping centre. So we'll just wander through and see if all the shops here are open as well. Okay, so I just quickly wandered through. It appears everything's open, but there aren't that many people around. So that means that people are still preferring to stay at home. We'll venture into this next large department store and see what's happening there. I'll quickly show you. Now for Starbucks and places like that, they have the option to open or close. So you can see here this KFC is closed. But if they elected to stay open, like now you're allowed to go back into restaurants, but if they elected to stay open, what you had to do is you would have came here and then it would have been barred off, and there would have been a table or desk here, and you just order from here, and then they would give you whatever you wanted. You weren't actually allowed to enter the shop. And because we just use apps for everything in China, you just order off your app, and we pay generally just by using our phones, so there's no transfer of cash or anything like that. So I'm not actually sure why that KFC would be open, but I did notice that some places would be closed, some would be open, depending on the amount of traffic they would get. And it's still very quiet by normal general standards, especially for being a weekend, even though for time of day, summer day, like I mentioned, would be quiet. So we'll enter in, another entrance, another check. Anyhow, yeah, shishi. So everything seems to be business as usual here. This KFC's open. So it's a bit strange. It appears that all the businesses are back open. Now there is a supermarket here, which I'm going to go to in a minute, and I came to this supermarket in February and this was completely closed, and honestly I did not see one single person. It was quite eerie. Like, of course in the supermarket I saw some people, but actually in the mall itself I didn't see one single person, which was quite amazing. So this is the entrance to the hey, get another temperature check, entrance to the supermarket. And again, there are people around, but nothing like it would usually be, so I'll sign off now and go shopping. Okay, this is the last place I wanted to check. This is a cinema. So as you can see, still not open for business. So actually that was quite surprising, considering that the bars and restaurants are now open. I thought that cinemas would be open too, but schools aren't opened as well. Okay, so that's this part of the filming done. Supermarket, like more like a we just buy fresh produce and meat and stuff. But just to put things into scale, on the face mask scene, you'll see not one single person that does not wear a mask. Now remembering that you need a mask just to enter the supermarket anyway. Because believe it or not, masks do stop the spread. I'll just show you this out of interest. So for seafood and stuff like that, you actually just buy it in the supermarket. It's all fresh in tanks. That's the butcher over there. And you know, like where the virus originated from, that wet market, believe it or not, they're actually quite rare. Like I believe there's not one of those in my city. I might be wrong because it's quite a large city. And even if there was, they're all about to be officially shut down. And in China, they don't mess around, because when they shut something down, they'll just go in with the bulldozers and actually bulldoze it down. So something new for people who don't know how Chinese only eat fresh. They don't eat preservative stuff. Like there's a little bit of frozen produce, just dumplings and things like that. Okay, so I'm down here. This is just a little park near where I live, just to see what's happening. So I think it's about 8:30 at night, and usually at this time of night, if it was a normal times, there'd be like for this area here, if we looked here, perhaps maybe 100 people in different sort of groups doing different styles of dancing. Like they love to do folk dancing and things like that for exercise. And there'll be people like sitting at, there's tables over there, they'll be sitting at the tables trying to play mahjong and things like that. So either one of two things: people are still reluctant to come out and they're still isolating, which I think is probably the cause, and perhaps in conjunction with that, perhaps the park have also limited that you can't actually congregate in groups yet. So I'll go and check out the entrance and see if there's any signs up. Yeah, very, very, very quiet indeed. It's a lovely night tonight, lovely perhaps spring night you'd call it. And normally you'd see people, they'd be walking and exercising, especially the elderly. They really love to do that sort of thing. Even here, you can't see, but no one around. Probably a good thing. Yeah, so this is just next to where I was filming. I was filming over here. That's where I was filming, down there. Lola, come here, quickly. And you can see, normally here, this is very, very popular. I come here quite often as I walk my dog. And usually there'd be at least 50, 60 people congregated in around here doing their little folk dancing. They love to do line dancing here. So things seem back to normal on the business sort of front, but the socialising aspect, no. So tomorrow I'll go and check out the main park in the city and the subway system and see if they're up and running back to normal capacity. Okay, so this is the entrance to the park. This is not the biggest park in the city, but it's the most central. I didn't pick the best day to actually come because it's you can see the sky. It's going to rain. It's already spitting now. If you look on, you can't see on the ground here. It's starting to spit, so there won't be many people around. Just on the masks, where the masks work is they stop you touching your face, so you don't get the air particles. Of course, if someone coughs or sneezes, but you'd be surprised how many times you just touch your face without even thinking about it during a day, and it's just impossible to wash your hands every second of the day, or even to use sanitizer. It's just you just can't do it. So you have to assume that everything you touch has already been contaminated, and if you think like that, you'll be safer. So let's have a look. Yeah, probably for this time of day, put your mask on. No, he's having a mask, don't put it on. Yeah, for this time of day, seems about the normal amount of people. Okay, this is right downtown, like, you know, in the CBD. This is probably one of the main tourist places. So I'll have a look how many people are here. Now, I don't usually come here on a Monday afternoon, so I don't know what the norm would be. But we do know that the majority of people wouldn't be travelling, so there'll be no tourists because they'd still be self-isolating back in their own cities. So there's quite a few people around. Now this was shut. This is only just reopened as well at the beginning of April. So I would be thinking that all these people are local people. But if I did make a comparison to if you came here maybe on a weekend, this would probably be about 25% of the normal amount of people that you would see sort of funneling down this mall. But you can see everyone's going along, seems happy enough. The street here runs parallel to where I just filmed, the tourist place. This is probably one of the main shopping streets. So yeah, still not at the normal capacity. Even though a lot of people are at work, usually generally there are people everywhere. So while everything is opened, I'd have a guess to say that places aren't running at full capacity. I'd still think that places like restaurants and that people are very reluctant to go and sit in and eat. We'll go look at the subway and a big department store. Another thing that's changed, you can see the billboard there. Now they put a lot of information about COVID-19, just some general health information and recommendations and things like that. But every country would be doing that, but that is new. They don't usually do that. So what we'll be looking for here is to see if we need a temperature check to go into the department store, because the supermarkets you still need them, and the other department stores where near I lived you need them as well. But we'll see if it's across the board or if it's up to the discretion of the department store itself. And we can see, just walk in as you want. So these people are a little bit more relaxed. So we'll get out of here because I don't want to buy any perfume. And now I'll get on the subway, head home and have a look if that's running at normal capacity. Okay, so what happened before is for all subways, usually there are 4 gates, and they closed all gates and they just have one gate open, and this would have been barricaded off, and they'd have people here who would be taking your temperature, and if you didn't have a fever then you're allowed to enter down into the subway. So we'll head on down, and they did slow all the trains to every 25 minutes, so we'll see if they're running at the normal 6-minute intervals. Okay, this is normal, that's just the bag check. But what they did do, like I said, that they had people taking your temperature. That was only when it very first happened, and then after we've already been living with it for maybe 10 to 14 days. What they did here is they had a station set up and they had a thermal camera, like you have at the airports. And then every time you wanted to go on the subway, you just walk past the thermal camera and it would just scan you to see if you had a fever. So this is like, think of it as the fast food court. So like I said, people are still quite reluctant to eat, but it's not the time to be eating anyway, because it's sort of late afternoon and everyone have just already had lunch and they'll be waiting for dinner. Oh, here, this is what I was talking about. You see this lady? Okay. You're allowed to film for privacy rules, but have a look. You see that there? That's what I was talking about there. That's the camera, a thermal camera, and when you want to enter, that will just scan you and see if you have a fever. And they use that just when there's a high density of people transiting, because it's quicker than if they just use the little hand scanner, and that's more precise. That's like they use in the airports and places like that. Well, that was interesting. That lady, she's saying I couldn't film. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so the trains are back to normal every 7 minutes. I'm not sure why we weren't allowed to film. Maybe it might just be a security reason that they don't want you to film, or a privacy thing. Believe it or not, there are a lot of privacy laws in China. Okay, so we'll just look on the subway and then we'll call it a day. So we're on the train, you can see everyone's wearing their masks. I didn't see a sign when I came into the subway saying you needed a mask, but I'm guessing that when you enter, if you didn't have one, they would just refuse you anyway when they took the temperature checks. there you have it, a bit of what's happening in China. Okay, so the conclusion is, I believe the traffic is probably at about maybe 70%, 80% of its normal daily amount, and the department stores and like downtown, the shopping area, is probably at about 50 to 60%. So what that means is people are choosing to stay home and still self-isolate, and a lot of people are still working from home. You have that option as well. And they are only going out for necessity, so they're not going out just for a bit of R&R. And why I made this video is mainly just to give people a glimmer of hope for wherever you are in your self-isolation, and just to show this has been 2 months exactly nearly since we went into the sort of like lockdown, that if you follow the recommendations and the guidelines sent by your government, as long as they know what they're doing, this can be over reasonably quick, and life can resume back to normal, or some form of normality. So hope this helps some people, and be safe.